on. I just thought I'd forego that so I could, but I'll be happy to turn it on until it gets bad.
Whatever you want to do. There you are. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Daniel.
Good evening.
Okay, I've got 6:30. I do want to mention a couple things tonight before I call the meeting to order. The first one would be Andy Hall's wife. We got an echo back here, don't we?
Is somebody on a phone in that room?
Don't think so.
I'm on the phone. This is Amos Harvey.
Oh, Amos, it wouldn't be you. It would be if someone was in the room with the mayor.
Okay.
Maybe the speaker.
Hey, Amos.
Microphone.
Hey,
Okay,
how are y'all doing?
Good, and yourself?
Good, thank you. Good, good. Hope y'all are too.
Yeah.
All right, are we better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, as I was saying, Andy Hall's wife, Missy, is having some health problems. She was admitted to the hospital here today. I think she will go home for the night, but has doctor's appointments tomorrow. Don't know enough to really tell y'all what's going on with her, but we need to keep her, Missy, in our prayers. And also, some of y'all may know Herbert Green. Herbert passed away suddenly yesterday. Up on Kennedy Street there. But I would like to offer a prayer for these that I mentioned tonight, if you would allow me to. Thank you. Heavenly Father, we do come to you tonight, Father, just giving you the praise, honor, and glory that you deserve, Father. Father, we thank you for your blessings and your mercy. And Father, I do lift up Missy Hall to you tonight, Father, and just pray that you would be with her. And Father, just whatever her health condition is, Father, that you would just touch her and heal her, Father. Father, we thank you for all your love that you give to us, and we ask you to be with us tonight as we discuss the business of the city. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, so I will call the meeting to order. And the first item of business will be to adopt the agenda. So Fred's here, so he moves. Kagan seconds.
Hey, before we adopt the agenda, can I add moving the formal meeting back to City Hall so I don't have to be here by myself anymore? Not that I don't enjoy it.
Okay, we've got that on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To do that.
I must have printed off an early version. I apologize.
Okay, but that's fine. We and our agenda has it on it, so we've had a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. So we'll adopt that and discuss that appropriate time. All right. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Okay, the next thing will, excuse me, will be to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
As for the minutes, I researched the issue that we discussed last month about the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission is allowed to be paid $120 per month in the form of per diem for a day or a portion of a day. And so the way we have it set up right now, we've got it per month, and we're not allowed to do that. So we would need to amend that. If they met last month, we don't want them to get paid for this month under that order. So technically, it may need to be vetoed, and we do it right with the right wording. Technically, I'm all about that.
I know they met this month, but I don't think they met last month. So we need to correct the minutes, or would we need to have a total new motion?
You're saying they met for July, but not for June?
No, they met in June.
think the minutes adequately reflect what happened. I just think we have to go and fix it moving forward.
Okay, they did meet in July the 6th. That was last night.
We did receive minutes from them in June as well.
We did receive minutes in June.
So they did not meet in May, but they did meet in June and July. But if you can prescribe a path, then we'll do it.
Yeah, which way, Daniel, how do we need to correct the minutes, or would it be a new motion?
I think it needs to be an emotion.
Okay.
A motion that would say what?
Oh, that they get paid per diem.
Per diem,
Yeah, so I think the minutes had that they were to be paid, was it $50 per month?
It was
Yeah,
35
50.
for members and 50 for the chair.
well, here's the way it reads in the minutes, is that planning commission members to be paid only on the months that they meet.
Should be for the days that they meet at a
For the
per diem
days.
rate of,
Then we had $50 for the president and $35 for
they
the member.
normally meet one day per month. So, but I called the state auditor's office. What he said was, if they spend 2 hours going and looking at some sites, they designate one person to personally inspect sites. They would get paid for that portion of the day going. And he said, but if they just spent 2 minutes out there, they don't need to get paid for it. But if they're legitimately doing it, they would be compensated for it under that plan. Anyways, it's just trying to get straight with all the different rules.
So I would entertain a motion then to correct the minutes, and that there would be planning commission members to be paid for the days that they meet. And there was $50 for the chairman and $35 for the members. So I would entertain a motion. And Kagan,
I'll make that motion.
okay. Nicole seconds, all in favor. Okay. That is unanimous.
I'm going to go shut the door. I'll be right back.
Anything else in the minutes needs to be corrected?
I just had one. I think it's correct. The way it reads, the last motion of the evening did not happen in executive session.
I can't.
The last motion of the evening didn't happen in executive session. And I think that's how it reads now.
When he came back and said this, only the month that they meet. I think he's talking about, I think that's what he's talking about. So it cut out so much. I couldn't get it.
Yeah. You cut out there a little bit, Kagan. I'm sorry, but we couldn't.
I just wanted to make sure that it's documented correctly. The last motion of the evening
Okay.
before the motion to adjourn did not happen in executive session. I think that's how it reads, but there was nothing
Oh, okay.
breaking it out that way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's correct in there. Okay. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay.
Herb,
Yeah.
second.
I
Yes.
second.
Okay, Nicole, seconds. All in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Okay, to approve the monthly bills. Give you a minute to look over those if you hadn't already. Any questions?
Yes, sir. I wanted to, the end-to-end charge of $3,700, is that the software for the fuel pumps out at the airport?
Police department.
Police Department.
Okay. And then I saw the city picked up a bill for a physical for one of our employees. Is that a normal practice?
Yes.
And then we had a vehicle go to Hood Equipment. I'm just adding to my list of which vehicles are worth replacing. So we spent $2,000 repairing a vehicle in Batesville. Do we know which department's vehicle that was and which one?
Street Department. Tractor.
And another, I think, was it the water department that was at Simmons Garage for another 2,000? The water department's truck?
Simmons? $2,000?
Simmons. We had 600. Don't see which page is the 2,000 on?
It was a series of, it was the purchasing of tires, the mounting of tires, and then there were some other repairs that were done that cumulatively were about
That
$2,000.
must be more than one, because I just said one water.
Right here.
That's police department. Some that's the police department and water department. It's good. Most of that is going to be the police department.
That's all we have on the agenda, purchasing a new vehicle. I wanted to see which ones we were. Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve the monthly bills.
Make a move.
I make
Hagan
the
makes a motion with second by Herbie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous. Is Mickey anywhere? Anybody have a report?
You'll just,
Now, did Cinnamon join?
I
I've
don't.
been here saying aye the whole time.
Okay,
I'm going to rename your phone number.
Okay.
okay.
Hi, Cinnamon.
By phone tonight? Oh, okay.
How you
Yeah.
feeling?
I'm okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the planning commission. And they did meet and they approved Kenny Burris on a variance. I think everyone probably received that. And the reason given was he owned all the property around it. And the lot was only about 700 feet less than the minimum amount. So they approved a variance for him to build this house. So I don't, we can just have a motion to accept their variance there.
Make that motion.
And Herbie makes a motion, have a second.
A second.
Those seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay. The Historic Preservation Commission had a couple of different meetings that we have minutes for. They had two meetings, June the 4th and June the 11th. They approved Lee McMahon's application at 414 North Main. Some renovations on that property. And then on the Crawdad Hole for Justin Showall. Part of that was denied, but they contacted him about maybe doing a cloth awning, and I didn't see in the minutes where they had approved that or he had agreed to that.
I think it was any kind of temporary awning, and he's looking at the alternatives. It may
Okay,
be an aluminum temporary awning.
All right. And then they also, for the application, I think this was going to be a request to the city to pay for some advertising. Selma, do you want to explain it a little bit?
You're cutting out. I couldn't hear everything that you said.
Okay, on the Historical Preservation Committee, wanting some funding from the city for some advertising or in the paper.
Oh, I'm not aware of
about-
that request. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. They put it in the minutes, but they didn't put an amount in there or anything. But,
Okay. I'll follow back up. They may have said something to me about it, but at this moment I can't recall.
okay.
And they may have said something.
Was the purpose to build awareness?
Yes, we were talking about putting back in the paper, just to remind everyone that we do have this commission now, and people are going to have to not only apply to the city for some things that were the planning commission, but some things are historic commission. And we did have that, the ordinance printed in the paper one time, and I'm thinking they might be leaning towards, just kind of revisiting that, just to kind of continue education to the community, awareness of the changes that we've made in the downtown historic district.
Okay.
So I think that's maybe what that funding request is
Okay.
for.
Okay, their second meeting, of course, was on the Big Yank Rice Stick Building, Everest, or what we want to call it now. Some
Just-
signage that,
There's going to be a great big new sign that will help everyone remember.
okay.
That's what the historic preservation meant about.
All right.
So I would like to say that they have been incredibly timely as an organization. So we end up doing so much paperwork with DC and Jackson to move anything on the Big Yank Everest building. And then our local folks have been just so responsive. It's been great.
That's good. And then also, Justin Showalter back about re-roofing the property at Crawdad Hole, and that was also approved by them. So just a motion that will accept their minutes and their decisions.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, someone makes a motion. We have a second, Herbie. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I put aye on everything except for the portion that applied to Everest Big Yank, in which case I abstain?
Okay. Okay, abstaining, that's, all right. So that did pass with taking abstaining from that. Okay, the next item would be Teresa Hobson on the hearing on the property. She appeared last month and we gave her 30 days to start improving, and Ms. Hobson is here in the boardroom tonight. So, Daniel, are you?
Yeah, before we dive into that, also, I would very much like to get reemployed for the coming year, and so would Shannon. So if we could add that to the agenda also on the tail end, so we don't forget that. But so I haven't personally inspected the property again since being out there and posting the initial notices on Miss Hobson's property that she is notified that the city has brought on for hearing the matter of whether her house is a dilapidated so that it is, detrimental to the community.
I think that's
Hold
the
it up.
property.
Has anybody out there inspected the property since then?
I went by yesterday. We did take a dumpster out there and it is full right now. We will have to dump that one.
So in other words,
And
we're
they are
making
making
progress.
improvement, but it's got some work to be done. But Michael's here and he says he'll dump that one tomorrow, and we can reset it.
I'm
So,
sorry, you're cutting in and out.
Hey, Miss, I'm going to put you on mute. There's some feedback right now.
Thank you. Well, I'm
Any
sorry, what
better?
were you saying?
I was at the property yesterday. The dumpster is full. We will get it emptied tomorrow. I would suggest giving them another 30 days so we can dump that one and they can continue to make improvements. Because it is a lot of work to be done still, but they are making some improvements on the property.
Are we ascribing the cost of the dumpsters to their taxes?
We can't do that without, we can bill them, which they agreed to pay. And of course, if they don't pay it, we have the right to sue them as any company that provides a service is allowed to sue. But until we officially have the hearing to determine whether their property is dilapidated or not, we can't add the fees and expenses to their taxes.
Did we not make that determination last month?
It's my recollection from the minutes that we continued it for 30 days and that we would place a dumpster out there.
Okay.
Am I incorrect? Let me pull up those minutes.
That was, I think, what we decided,
We were trying to be nice.
give them
And,
30 days.
Yeah,
And
and
she
looking
is
at
here
property
tonight.
With talking about Kagan, but we did discuss and
No, it says that it was deemed a menace. So she was found to have, yes, so I guess we need to specify that the hearing was had to better word that. I missed that, but page 2 of the minutes needs to state that a hearing was had on the Teresa Hobson property at that certain address, and that after a hearing thereon, it was determined that it was dilapidated and deemed to be a menace to health, and that, or am I incorrect? And that y'all just decided to give her 14 days in the dumpster and see if we continued the hearing.
That my recollection, and I'm reading over the minutes again, is that we deemed it to be a menace and discussed specifically because there were other outstanding garbage bills that have been unpaid, that we were going to make sure that this would be a cost that could be ascribed to the taxes.
We need to clean up that language of the page 2 of what happened.
Okay. So
Because on first review of it, I incorrectly came to the conclusion that a continuance was made to provide them the dumpster so they would try to clean it themselves without us having to intervene.
we actually have a video record of that whole conversation now.
That's awesome. That's
But
exactly why.
so I would make a motion that we make sure that the minutes from last month reflect that action being taken. And I'm happy to also, well, I'll leave that. And I'm happy to extend it again, but making sure that the taxpayers are not going to be responsible for paying for those dumpsters.
Okay. Well, we'll correct those minutes. So you had a motion to that effect. We have a second to that motion.
yeah,
Herbie. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's unanimous.
And then should I follow with a motion to deliver another dumpster and extend another 30 days?
Yes,
Make that
I think
motion.
that would be in order.
Yeah, second that.
Okay. So another 30 days and we'll dump that one and get it back out there so they can continue. And I will continue to drive by checking on the property. And again, she did show up tonight, so I want to make sure that that's in the minutes. That it did show up, so we'll get that. Let me turn it to her. You understand? We're gonna dump the dumpster tomorrow. We'll reset it, and y'all continue to clean up. And I'll be monitoring it, okay? Try to,
Reason I'm late, I just came in from Jack. My cancer came back and I'm having to go back and forth to Jackson. So I don't know how much more I can get done with my situation that's going on right now.
okay, just keep trying. And some of the stuff we can pick up with that out there too, on that. Okay, Michael is keeping up with it too, so. All right.
I think that should have been Mr. Pumpkin instead of Just here, Mr. Morgan.
Oh, there he is back in the back. Okay, on the item number 9, that is incorrect. It's not Mr. Buford, it's Mr. Morgan.
Mr. and
And
Mrs. James Morgan.
yeah, Mr. Morgan is present with us tonight also in the back of the board room. And so this is at 501 Calhoun Street.
So we had this hearing initially on December 3rd, 2019. Excuse me, we brought it up for hearing. And at that time, we continued it without making a determination to allow Mr. Morgan to continue repairs to the property.
Has anyone inspected that property lately? I have not. Mr. Morgan, have you made repairs to that building?
Yes, I've
Got it enclosed?
boarded up, I did.
Okay.
Also, the rubbish on the porch of it is that I thought somebody was sleeping in the house at night, but it wasn't. When you come to find out when I cleaned it out, he would have got it from the house next door.
Okay.
So it wasn't mine.
Okay.
I don't know why he didn't put his garbage on the street to get it picked up, but he threw it on my porch when I found the letter, they addressed it to them. So they would throw it on my porch,
Okay.
but it had been done. And also, I didn't find no evidence of roads on the porch either. Also, if said nobody been by to check, I put a tin roof on there since then too.
Okay.
And I talked to a man yesterday, I don't know him, the guy that recommended said I would know him. And his name is Michael Carr. Contractor, y'all might know him. The guy that recommended said I would know him. And he's supposed to come by and look at the house and give me an estimate
Okay.
on repair.
I don't know if y'all can hear Mr. Morgan. He has
I'll take care of that.
He has boarded it up where no one can get in it. He has put a new roof on it. He is talking to a contractor about finishing it. And he said that he has discovered that some of the garbage that had been placed on the property, the person that lived next to it was putting his garbage there because he found his name in some of the garbage. But he's taking care of that also. And he said he would continue to clean up around that property also.
Also, when you say you can get in that, you could at one time, but if the weeds are rolled up, that's all that is, weeds. Because the bushes didn't cut. And when I cut the bushes, I want you to come by and look at it, because there's rubbish on the other end of it, like that came from Wood Street. who dumped not from my house, but from Wood Street.
He's also saying that someone on Wood Street has dumped some stuff on the back of his property there also. So,
And I we don't try to find out who dumped it. I realize different people stayed there, I think.
So I would, if the property has been sealed so that,
Repeat that, Mike.
yeah, he's boarded it up. He said no one can get in it. He's put the new roof on it. Contacted a contractor. It's going to be totally, remodeling the house, redoing it.
so I would make a motion that we give a 90-day extension. Check in
Okay.
before, that's when the grass has stopped growing, to make sure it's cleaned up and ready for the winter, if it's still unoccupied and boarded up.
Okay. So I have a motion to give Mr. Morgan a 90-day extension. We have a second.
A second.
Second.
Harvey, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
I'd like to make a statement too,
Okay.
that, this cleanup and remodeling that house didn't start when I got y'all left. When you go back, look on the east side, you got, the side that already been covered. On that side, the porch has been covered, a new porch, which is in, the remaining side is on the porch.
Okay.
And if you look at the front, you ain't got to go, just look at the front, you can see side and put on there. This started some time ago. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and look and see if I found a bill where I purchased some of the material, and I'm gonna let y'all know when it started.
Okay.
Cause it ain't what I'm saying,
It
it just
didn't.
didn't start
Right.
when I got y'all left.
Okay.
And the contractor that I paid almost all the money quit working. And I'm gonna lose my money because I'm gonna get another contract. And another man, James, I can't think his last name, he did some work on Blackman Drive for my wife. I'm gonna talk to him. He's supposed to give me an estimate too. He works for the city. You know what I'm talking about, Mike?
James Sim William Beard.
That's it's James Sim, is his name.
Okay.
He's supposed to give me a bill too.
Again, I don't know if y'all understand. He said that he had started working on this property kind of before he got the original letter, but and he will continue to work on this property. So, okay, the next item is the Hare property at 1521 Central Street, and I don't think anyone is here. So
No,
Daniel,
in fact, I talked last year with Nancy Miller from South Haven, and she was emphatic that she's washed her hands of the problem. However, she's still the addressee on the tax receipt. So according to statute, we're bound to provide her notice. So we did. The letter was refused on June 20th. And so, they've had ample, of course, it was mailed on June 18th and refused on June 20th. But and then I noticed that the notice that I posted on the door, if you look real hard through all the vegetation, it looks as if it's been removed. So it looks like, as we mentioned, there was a local relative who had in the past habitated that home, being Lightning Hare. And I have seen him in the community. I don't know if he's actually living in that home, but it looked as if the notice had been removed.
Has the property not gone up for a tax sale?
I think it has. I think the taxes,
Not through us, they may have the
yeah,
county.
the
but
county
not
may
us.
have, but I don't
Not through
know.
us.
I don't think it's been sold.
Okay. At this point, have we declared this, or is this the hearing?
this is the hearing.
Okay.
Because every time you do this, it's good for a year. And you would hope that the taxpayer gets the message and continues what the city was doing on their own dime. However, that is not what happened in
Okay.
this matter.
It's in terrible shape.
Oh,
I drove by.
absolutely. You can hardly see the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
So-
the main entryway into the city.
It's terrible.
So,
We had that to Mayor Cindy last year.
so Daniel, do you suggest that we do clean it up and charge it to them?
Well, I suggest that, I mean, if from y'all's, I suggest that y'all make a determination that it's dilapidated if y'all think that way, and which from the conversation it sounds like y'all do. And then after that determination, then yes, the city goes in and removes the excessive vegetation, which is creating mice and vermin in downtown Water Valley.
It's definitely dilapidated.
I mean, there's no question that those weeds are 5 feet to 6 feet tall. When I walked by there, I remember brushing them away from my face.
So I
think that's-
would make the motion that that property is, what is the appropriate language, Daniel?
Dilapidated.
Is dilapidated and a menace to the community.
Says, please be aware that an adjudication at the hearing that the property or parcel of land is in need of cleaning will authorize the municipality to re-enter the property or parcel of land, and that if we determine that it is in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. So do y'all as a body determine, is anybody going to make a motion, I should say, that it's in state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community?
Yes. I make that
Nicole,
motion
all right, Nicole,
again and again and again.
yeah. All right,
I second.
all right, Nicole made a motion, Herbie second, all in favor,
Aye.
and that is unanimous. We'll work on trying to get it cleaned up one day, and
And if is Mr. Scroggins behind you?
yes,
And for the record, before we go, once we clean it this one time, if we want to go in and re-clean it before the end of the year, we have to post notices again that we are intending to re-clean it if they allow it to get into such a state of uncleanliness again.
okay. We'll discuss that.
It says for subsequent cleaning within the 1 year period after the date of the hearing at which the property or parcel of land was adjudicated to be in need of cleaning, upon 7 days notice posted both on the property or parcel in need of cleaning and at City Hall or another place in the municipality where such notices are generally posted. So we wouldn't have to involve the whole board, but me and Michael would get together and we'd post a letter down at the house again and at City Hall, or him and Miss Vivian, either one. But she's got the sample language. Anyways, I just want to point that out.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that passed unanimous. The next thing is Borg Warner exemptions, and I believe the county has already given them these exemptions. Of course, this date of this completion was December of 2019. The amount of this exemption is $3,628,140.94. And so I would entertain a motion to give Borg Warner this exemption.
Make the motion.
Hurry makes the motion. Do I have a second? Fred seconds. Any discussion on this?
Does
All
Herbie
in-
still work at Warner?
No. Herbie doesn't
No?
work
Okay.
for Borg Warner.
I do not.
Okay. Okay, I couldn't remember Herbie. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So it passes unanimous. Okay, Miss Elizabeth Smith is here in the boardroom. Follow up on the easement on the Judson Street property. And Daniel, I know you have been researching this, and Vivian has as well. So Daniel, I'll let you speak to this.
Well, it would appear that the Judson Drive's been on the books for around quite a while, and I don't see the
1998. Freezing
Sorry?
up. Oh, now you froze up for a
Let me
minute.
turn off my video. Yes, sir. So what I was saying was that it would appear that from the tax records and the records at the courthouse, Judson Drive's on the official county maps. It's the official city maps is a city drive, and you know, I'm not quite sure. Have we did, you know, I don't see anything that would lead me to believe that it's not a city drive. So at this time, I mean, I don't see an issue with it.
Vivian found that in 1998, when the 911 first came into our county, at that point in time, it became a city street at that time. So from 1998 forward, it has been a city street on the maps, and or 911 addresses also. So, Ms. Smith, did you have any other?
I do. I spoke with the surveyor who has had some previous job history with easements. I spoke to 2 easement lawyers, and I spoke to real estate agent. All 4 of them said that regardless, I checked with the Mercer map. It was amended 61 years ago. The street was not there at that time. There are 3 Mercer markers back there. One is in the front of my property. 2 are in the back. And those measurements that Jeff Traylor did are based on the original Mercer markers. There are 4 owners of that road. 2 are Judson family, brother and sister, and myself. And then I forget the name of the other person, but everybody I spoke to claims that regardless of what someone says verbally, that it is required by Mississippi law that you, in order to take someone's personal property, you have to follow procedure. And I have some paperwork here. The procedure is for any agency that wants to claim eminent domain power to seek private property. They have to follow Title 11, Chapter 27 in the Mississippi Code. And it, you can read this, but this, you can say 911, you can say anything verbally that you want, but legally, technically, the law must be followed. And so, I pride myself in being a law-abiding citizen, and I would hope that the city council and you, sir, the mayor, would follow the proper procedure in order to claim that as, an easement entitlement in the name of the city.
Well, everything that I see in the land records is showing that the drive is on the Judson's property, arguably crosses the Judson's property and the housing authority's property. So in what part does it touch onto your property, Ms. Smith?
It goes from the back 2 corners of my property. It goes in a triangle. The markers are back there. I can take you out there and show you. He came out and showed me again. He showed me twice now, but one of them is in the middle of the road and one of them is at the corner of the road. And
So what is
then
it that you would have if everything were to go exactly like you wanted it to go, what is it that you would want the city to do, or what is it that you would want to happen?
well, to follow the law of Mississippi in terms of taking someone's personal property. And, you know, my only concern is that with all of this telecommunications infrastructure going in, that they're going to be putting in the cell towers along that road. And then it's going to be an issue of, you know, somebody transferring, illegally transferring permission to another company to do something with someone's property.
So you're worried about the telecommunications or the utilities that may arguably cross.
Well, I've already discussed with the city my legal right according to the laws of Mississippi and according to the telecommunications industry in regards to the smart meter, that I have a right to remove that, and I was denied that. So, you know, legally, I'm allowed to do that. And I provided all that information to the mayor, but he chose not to read it.
No, ma'am, I read it and brought it to the board.
Well, I don't think that, I mean, to allay some of your fears, I think with almost complete certainty, correct me if I'm wrong, but from any of the city employees that are there, but that property is not zoned for a cell phone tower. So we shouldn't necessarily, at least in the immediate future, that's not an issue. There would have to be a variance. And of course, you'd be given notice to contest the variance of the zoning. I think, I mean, we just turned down on Mr. Fly requesting to put a cell phone up on the other side of the bypass, but it wasn't zoned for that use, so it was denied. So, I mean, there is a process and notice to neighbors of the land usage, but that road services 3 different homes back in the back there. 3 different houses are using it as their means. That's their, I mean, utilities and everything are running down that road.
As far as I know, there's only one person, one family actually living back there. And that's at the very end of the road. The other 2 homes are empty.
Joe Turner, I know, lives there.
The other brick house mayors is some of his family members.
That's what I thought. I think the only thing is maybe we start a process of taking that piece of property by eminent domain. Then, if that's why she wants a legal document, that's.
I do because I'm thinking about the future and the possibility of selling it. And when I talked to the realtor, they said, it will be an issue, and it'll be an issue that I'm going to have to address before I can sell it possibly. And I just, I don't want to have to deal with that down the road. So, I mean,
Do you see another solution?
But I mean, before I would advise the city to jump through the hoops of eminent domain, I would certainly argue that we at least need to see something from Ms. Smith to prove that a portion of this city right away is on her property, as she claims. Not just, but before we spend the money and time and effort to jump through all those hoops, I would definitely want to see what she's basing her opinion on.
Right, and that I turned all the records over to Linda at the tax office because she wanted a copy of the survey.
Well, that's the county, that's not the city.
Well, they're there, or I can bring them to your office. I've got.
That would be great. I would greatly appreciate it.
But Jeff Traylor is the the contact information I provided you about a month or 2 months
Yes,
ago.
ma'am. I'm familiar with him.
He can confirm all that as well. And I can physically go out there and show you the markers if you want to walk the property. There.
After I review the survey, I might call you and take you up on that offer. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, well that,
Thank you.
all right,
But yeah, I just would like to have something in writing.
okay.
I'm free most of Thursday. Tomorrow I've got court and I don't know how long it's going to be because it's contested. But if you called my office, I feel sure that we could set something up for Thursday if you wanted to stop by with the survey and speak with me for a minute or two.
Okay, or I could drop it off and then maybe we could talk on Friday because I've got an appointment to get my taxes finished by Friday, so.
Yes, ma'am. That sounds perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
All right, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is Amos Harvey, and I know Amos was on earlier. Electric Department billing.
I'm still here.
There he is. Okay,
How you doing?
all right, Amos.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to bring up to everyone on the board to see, I had a question about the payment for electricity and water. As some of you may know and some don't, but I travel for work a good bit, and ever since I moved here in 2004, the only way that I had seen to be able to pay the electric bill was by bringing a check or cash up to the to be able to pay, and then I found out about bank draft, which is great. But I was just hoping to see if at some point, if it's possible, especially during the time of you know, the coronavirus pandemic and other factors, that if it was possible to be able to have an online payment system for the electricity, because I know that some, other than me, some people, you know, end up being late or out of town, or you got to mail a check from, you know, Ohio or France or wherever to be there in time, or and it doesn't happen all the time, or it's not possible all the time. But I just didn't know if there'd ever been talk about having a online payment system, and or being able to take credit or debit cards, either in person or over the phone, to be able to avoid late fees. And, you know, sometimes if I or other people are out of town past I think the 13th, now we're getting charged $10 for water and electric on top of the late fee. So just wanted to put that on the table and see, you know, I know there's software out there to be able to do that fairly easily and inexpensively. I know with credit card and debit cards, there's a percentage for transaction, but just wanted to put that on the table and see what you all thought about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good idea. I think what we would have to do is discuss this with Tennessee Valley Authority, who's our governing federal authority, and see about, you know, the online payments, especially with a debit or credit card, because we would have to have a vendor. And if that would constitute us forgiving any part of a bill. But it is a good idea, and I know technology is moving on in that direction for just about everything. But let me do some research on that with our electric department and their auditors, and see if we can come up with a more convenient way to pay these bills.
Okay, that would be great. I appreciate it, and I think others would too. And I know that one or the other is connected. So if you're going online, that means you're going to pay with a debit or credit card. So
right.
Then you're going to have a vendor, you know, which leads to, if you show up and want to run a credit card or a debit card, you're going to have the same, you know, same issue, and seeing what it would cost and if it's a possibility.
Yeah. I know some companies charge a convenience fee they charge, you know, for paying online, but
right.
We'll just see what we can legally do through Tennessee Valley there.
Okay.
Well, we brought it up. We brought it up a couple of times, Amos. This is Cinnamon speaking.
Hey, Cinnamon.
We brought it up a couple of times. We all thought it was a good idea, and Andy Hall came back and countered that they didn't want to do debit and credit cards because it costs money, and it was some kind of fee that they didn't want to foot the bill on. So I appreciate the mayor going back and asking more about why that was too expensive, because we really do need, alternate access to paying bills at City Hall.
Yeah, and I know
the board was told before by department director that it wasn't feasible. So I think we should revisit that.
Gotcha.
I'll definitely check on that. And
that'd be great.
All right.
Thanks for that update too, Cinnamon. And I know some people were worried about going out in public, in the first couple of months of the shutdown too. So I did see in the bill that there was a note saying that they wouldn't turn off the power on you, if you were late on your bill. But then when you did go to pay your bill, you're still paying the late fees or the $10 per water for electricity if you're past the 13th. So it was awesome not to have people's power shut off, but also, they still got hit with the late fees, even with that grace period.
Yeah. And there's also, to remind everybody, there's a drop box outside of the City Hall, so you don't have to ever come in if you want to drop off your bill and pay it after hours or any time.
Yeah, that's good too. I've seen notes posted of that as well. But I won't take up y'all's time. I know y'all got more stuff to go.
All right.
But thanks for listening to me.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Amos.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mark is here. Wants to discuss some possible additions up at the Armory. You want to?
I don't know how to get on the camera, but if y'all can hear me, hey.
Hey.
We are really close. The phones are actually switched as of today, and I'm thinking tomorrow the police department will actually start moving their stuff into the Armory. We're still doing some kitchen stuff and getting countertops in and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as the police department able to operate and even us able to operate, we're good with that. The mayor and I have looked at the building on the inside, and although the fire engines fit, we're still jammed up. And with the more public that we're going to be with the voting and all that good stuff that goes on in the Armory and any kind of meetings that we have up there, the concern is the firing up the diesel engines and everything, and just the general inconvenience of having the fire engines inside the same building as the police department and the voting. We were looking at possibly adding a building onto the side of it. Now, I don't have the quotes with me right now, and I'm not asking y'all to make a decision right now. I'm basically bringing it to you so you can know what's going on. We're looking at about a 50 by 50 metal building, keeping the same colors and all that good stuff as the Armory is going to be. But I'm not asking for more money. I have the money in my municipal fire money to do this. And we're looking at about $45,000, and that's completely built, the slab, the building, having it built, and be done with it. But that's where like I said, I have the money in my municipal fire money that's set aside for fire departments to do stuff like this. And I basically need to hear what y'all's thought on it was.
This building would be to the rear, and there'd be some doors cut to the rear of the building.
Right.
And again, we were discussing the fact that firing up diesel engines inside a building may not be the safest thing in the world to do. So,
Why wouldn't you just drive them up outside? I mean, I don't mean to be.
we're not
dumb
going to
about
park a $300,000 fire truck outside.
it. I don't even leave it there, but I mean, if you're just, I mean, are they concerned with like just cranking it up and moving it out like you would a car out of a carport? Is that what they're concerned about?
The smoke's a lot worse, but
Diesel would go throughout that building pretty quick.
Ah,
Air
Ventilation.
quality would be suffering.
Yeah.
when I go and buy all the exhaust fans that's supposed to be on there, we're going to be talking a lot more $1,000 that I can't pay for with my municipal fire money. I can't buy that certain equipment. It has to be like a fire department or the building or the turnouts and stuff like that. That's what we purchase all our turnouts with. And that's a lot of the stuff I buy during the year comes out of that municipal fire money.
I had misunderstood and I had envisioned, and I don't know why I envisioned this. That's why I said sometimes it's the dumb question, but I envisioned that y'all just cranking them up and letting them sit in there and run for 15 or 20
Well,
minutes.
we do. Every morning they do crank up and run for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I am all for, and I'm very happy that we are investing in the infrastructure of our city right now. We are also, we need to start talking about our budget. And we are watching, I know the mayor is watching very closely our tax revenue. I would prefer to hold off on any decision to spend money like this until we have a better idea of where our tax revenue is, what our next year's budget is going to be. And also, we haven't decided what to do. We've talked a little bit about what we do with the property that the fire and police are in right now.
Right.
And it might be a good opportunity if we liquidate that, declare a surplus and get rid of it, that we could use some of those funds to further invest in the police.
We had discussed that also, Mark and I had, that once they get out of that building, and we could declare it surplus at that point in time and get a commercial appraisal on it, then advertising.
Great muffler shop.
You gonna put one in?
But I mean, for Kagan, there is no tax money involved in this. This is all the money that the state gives us to the fire department, zero tax money on that.
Right, I hear you, Mark. It's just if every other bit of our money in the city is required to just keep the lights on, I would like to know that you had some reserves.
And I'll still have plenty left in there when I do that. I already have this money. It has nothing to do with that. You know, I've got plenty of money in it.
And it does have to be spent too, or
On
you,
specific.
yeah. And if you don't,
You have to explain why you
yeah.
haven't spent it.
But
So,
but
anyway,
like I said, we're not asking for a decision. I would just wanted y'all to understand what we've been discussing and bring it out. And he will be getting some plans, some actual costs. We'll bring those back to you also. But
next meeting.
just want to start this process of thinking about it, I suppose. But
I can't wait
Okay.
for an open house when we can do that.
yeah, and hopefully by the end of this month, y'all will be up there totally.
Oh, yeah.
And we can have a big open house up there and let everybody see it. And, I think it'd be great. If you hadn't been by, go by sometimes and look at it. It's great. Okay. Next we have Michael. Want to buy a truck?
See you there? I'm sorry.
You got some. All right, you're on.
All right, I was done tonight. I've got 3 trucks that has gone down. I've got a 95 pickup, a 92 ton truck, and
Tell the old fire truck. What is it? A little bitty.
Oh, yeah, it's in the 70s or 84.
84 pickup, small truck. my proposal that I want to bring tonight is I'd like to buy 2 vehicles. One of them would be a ton truck. The one we've had over the past, we used to clean ditches and just small stuff we do on the streets and stuff, and have used it in the cemetery. But now we have nothing really to work unless we take a piece of machinery, backhoe or something, run up and down the road trying to dig ditches, wearing pieces of equipment out where it needs to be done something else. And then I want to get 1 pickup. I have looked, I have my state bid prices. I've looked at them, and I'm looking at less than $60,000 on the 2 vehicles. Well, it'll be something. Just a minute, 30. Be right at about $70,000. Let me back up because I got to put a dump bed on the 1 ton truck. But I am looking at somewhere, she told 65 to 70,000 at the most. My thing, I would like to, studying around in a 5-year period, we could have it worked off. But I mean, we've got to have some equipment.
Is this your top priority for this year? I saw that you just paid off the street sweeper.
Yes, we don't have anything else. The only equipment I have right now is the tractor that we purchased last year, and it's a once-a-year payoff. And I think we still may have maybe 2 more years left on it, but we do it annually once a year. But as far as other equipment, everything else has been paid.
And the sweeper, was that a once-a-year payment?
Once a what now?
Once a year?
April was monthly.
Yes, it was monthly.
It was monthly.
It was monthly. We just had the sweeper, but before that, we had the backhoe.
They're both paid for.
And then both of them are paid for now.
Okay, I thought I saw a $30,000 payoff of the sweeper.
No, we're doing, it was monthly. All of it's been set on monthly what there, and even with like the only thing else was that, as far as my department, we just got this new garbage truck. That's the only thing we're having, and we're monthly too.
That's in sanitation.
That's in sanitation though. It's a different department.
Which one would be your top priority if you had to drop down to 1?
If I had to drop down to 1 right now, it would be that ton truck. We need something to be able to work, clean ditches and stuff out. But there's no sense. You got to park a dump truck somewhere out on the street, and then you got to have a driver that can drive it. And then you got a backhoe that's running up and down the street trying to dig, and 3 men out there trying to dig where you could be working in the trucks.
What's the ton truck, Michael?
Sir?
What's the price on the ton truck?
I'm looking on the state there. I'm looking at Ford 550.
A Ford.
And I would have a 10-foot dump bed on it.
What's the price?
What would be the price?
The price on that truck was $30,349. What my state price was. Then I have a roughly, she's $8,000 for a complete bed, factory bed put on.
So roughly 39,000.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to go back, but if this number is accurate, we have quite a bit of space in that budget. Mr. Mayor, if you pull up the claims docket number 75207, it says payment 5 of 5 for the street sweeper was $30,000, a little over $30,000.
Okay. What was that docket number again?
75207. Which is to say that
that was an annual then.
Okay, so that's to say if the street department's budget was carving out $30,000 a year for a street sweeper. Buying both of these trucks would be half of that if we amortize it over 5 years. And if that's the equipment the street department needs, they're still going to be coming out $15,000 a head each year.
You're right. Plus all the repairs that we've been making on these old trucks.
I cannot believe we're running trucks that are that old. So I just from that one component of their budget, which they now get back because we paid off that street sweeper.
Yeah.
Their budget, even if we have to make cuts, their budget can afford both those trucks.
That's true.
Have we made any money on the surplus that we sold on the govdeals.com? How much money have we made on that?
None at this time.
Okay.
But,
So did we ever get
but
anything listed?
we can declare those. I think part of it, declare those 3 surplus that's tore up.
They're junk. They won't run or anything. I'm not spending no.
I mean, but we
25,
can
yeah.
declare them surplus if we do this.
I've been line all that up on Wagner Street on the school property so we could, y'all can go by and see and let's go ahead and get.
No, we're not going to do that.
I need some room. I need to get rid of that junk down there.
How about, can I make a contingent motion? Can I move that we approve the purchase of both of these vehicles under the proper procedures? But the keys are not delivered to the street department until their broken down, ruined vehicles are removed from the city inventory.
Okay.
Give me permission to remove the vehicles and stuff and I will clean it up.
We have to put them
We
out.
do have to declare those surplus, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes, you need to declare
I
them
think
surplus
first
and
thing
not
we
move
can
to
do-
Wagner Street where my
no,
office.
we're not going to move
Up there by
across the
your
hall.
office, bro. Make you look good up
We're
there.
gonna, so those 3 vehicles from the street department, we do need a motion to declare them surplus.
I make a motion.
All right, Nicole makes a motion. We have a second. Herbie second. All in favor?
Aye.
Could I make a motion that how many of those dump trucks, not the dump trucks, the garbage trucks now, since our new one has arrived, how many of those can we declare surplus tonight?
I have one that I could probably declare surplus. I really wanted to keep it, but it's gonna cost somewhere around 4,000 to fix the motor. It's a better garbage bed, but the other truck, we're using it for backup.
But there are 4 more in that parking lot, aren't there?
There's a 1974 sitting in the lower lot down there that's nothing but junk. That's all, and there's nothing workable on it. It needs scrapyard.
So we can declare it surplus in a
So
1974.
how many things in that parking lot by the electric department and the water department can we declare surplus tonight?
Half of it.
Well, we need a list.
I have a list I can give you that, we've taken pictures, I've taken pictures and everything of the stuff there, but most of the stuff down there, an old tanker truck that is junk, it won't run, the pumper don't work on it no more, can't keep the brakes, can't buy a cylinder for it anymore. You have a 74 garbage truck, you have a 60-something model Massey Ferguson backhoe, you have a 95 case backhoe. You have a John Deere backhoe.
Miss Vivian, what do we need we need a list of the year, the model, and the VIN number if they have one, and maybe 2 pictures. That's what we need, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
We'll get those and
You gonna wait the graph down there to take a picture?
we have to.
No,
All right, so we had the motion that we and it passed that we declared those 3 surplus, and we'll get the VIN numbers and pictures of those. Now, go back to the purchasing of the trucks. State bid prices on the one was about $38,349 with the bed.
Yeah, that's a ton.
That's, and now the other truck, what are you looking at there?
It was 24,599.
$24,599. What is it?
That's an F-350, basically like what I'm driving right now. My other one will be handed down.
Okay. So F-350 at $24,599 and a Ford 550 at $38,349.
Those are incredible prices.
They really are.
The state bid prices. Don't you wish you could buy one like that?
I move to approve both of those.
But if we choose to go ahead, I think we would have to get financing lined up. Do we have to bid that financing, Daniel? Or just ask our local?
I'd like to err on the side of bidding that out. If I remember correctly, I can't remember off the top of my head.
We did bid the others.
Renaissance, yes.
We bid. I know we did bid the last police vehicle.
Yeah, and I think if we did it last time, I would like to just keep with it. I mean, you're not going to get in trouble for doing more than you should.
I think each time we bid it, the rates have come back different from both of the banks, so they are competing for that business.
Yes, we've gotten good rates the last time.
Not advertising, just bidding.
Yeah, just
That's what I can have.
yeah, just advertise for bidding, not for the financing, not for the trucks themselves.
Right.
Okay.
So can we approve moving forward to solicit bids?
Financing.
Yeah. Is that a definitive motion?
Yeah, we can entertain a motion for that. Yes.
I move that we.
Kagan makes a motion that we. Second. Herbie seconds. All in favor?
I don't think we need to put in a motion, but we really need that
list
of equipment out of that parking lot.
And I need VIN numbers on
I
those
need-
makes and models. So
I'll
we can
get some
advertise.
pictures and have a next board meeting.
Well, I'm talking about for the for the finance.
Yes, yes.
I need something. We have to have what we're bidding financing on.
And then can I, while we're in the street department, can I ask, do we need more personnel or more equipment? The grass has been growing like crazy this year.
We're going to get into that also, and maybe executive session, making a hire. Because we definitely need more, no doubt.
Yeah, we look like we're very behind this year.
Yeah.
I've been having to mow my house twice a week. So I understand there's a lot.
Right.
But I want to make
more in the shop.
An equipment shortage, and if we need more folks could use some work right now.
We do.
Let me, while we're on that, Daniel.
Yes, sir.
I've noticed that other municipalities hire seasonal workers, and they don't specify. They just say we're going to hire a blank number of seasonal workers. Can we do that? Say we can hire 4 seasonal workers without having to come each time and specifically hire a person each time.
Frankly, no, they're just doing it wrong.
Okay.
And I will say this, there are, we're under the, I just drew a blank, but there's different forms of municipal government, and the form of government that we're under, the Board of Aldermen have to approve their hires. Okay. And so those other municipalities may either be under specific charters which allow their mayors to do so, or council government, which may have a loophole that we don't. But under our rules, we can't do that.
Okay. Right. All right.
So does that mean we need to come together more quickly than next month to hire some folks? Or do
We
have
may need to, yes, because
Yeah, we gotta have to do it for sure. So some of my people right now is on the garbage truck.
Yeah. Okay, moving along. The next item is
Thank y'all.
will actually be broken down into 16A and B. I'll call 16A, the electric department write-offs, and the balance is $6,872.74. And I think y'all know that procedure is that you don't forgive these, but TVA requires us to put that in a different category.
I had a question because I recognized a few of the folks on that list this time. And I think one or two might have multiple accounts with the city. If someone is behind and we're writing off their debt, are they allowed to maintain a separate account? I thought they were no longer allowed to receive service from the city unless they paid off this debt.
I think that is true. I know it's at that particular location anyway. And if they try to come back and get services again, they're denied until they pay any of this back that they owe.
Okay, it looked like one person might have, I wasn't sure if this was their business or their home, but I feel like they would have had two accounts with the city. Another one, I think they probably have their home and their spouse's name. But I just wanted to make sure that we're not writing down debt and leaving ourselves open to the same person.
You know, we always declared,
And
I mean, I'm sorry.
we could get a copy of the rolls. I had the same question. Is there any way we can get a copy of the rolls? Who has electric service with the city? Is that public knowledge or?
There would be knowledge that the board could obtain, but it's around 1,500 customers currently. But again, I could ask Andy or Crystal to get that list.
Yeah, if we could have access to the list, and that way we would know without having to guess.
Yeah, but they always cross-reference when anyone applies, and when they are delinquent, of course, they do apply their deposits to the delinquent bill, and then the write-off is above the deposits.
I'm sure Crystal is looking at that. I just wanted to see if that is the policy that.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that they don't have, we're writing off one place and they still have service another. We'll make sure that that does not happen. Okay, I would entertain a motion then to write off or move this $6,872.74. Motion. Kagan makes a motion. Herbie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. Motion passes. Okay. 16B, as I'll call it. This is a list of refunds that the electric department has mailed out and that the checks have not been cashed in at least 6 months. And so we have to write these off, but if the people do come forward, they can still get their refund. It's just they would have to be issued another check. So this just
Have
helps.
these people been contacted?
They've all had a check mailed to them.
But have they been contacted to follow
No,
up?
we don't try to contact them other than when we mail the check to them.
So they may have never received a check.
I
But we don't know.
No, but
If you know someone on the list, so just, I know that one of those checks has been.
we have already reissued one, yeah. So, but you know, if you know anybody on the list, certainly tell them, hey, you know, we refunded you some money, and you didn't cash the check. If you'll come by the electric department, we can get another check issued. This again, this is just accounting to help on the books. You know, if you balance your checkbook, if you got one that's outstanding for 6 months, you can't balance too good. If you keep bringing it forward.
Yeah. So is the motion to cancel these outstanding checks?
Yes, motion is to cancel these outstanding checks.
So
All right,
moved.
Kagan makes the motion.
Second.
Herbie seconds. All in favor?
Oh, okay, here we go.
And that's unanimous.
Excuse me. As for the lease purchase authorization, lease purchase, is that what we're going to do with the trucks?
You're breaking up again, Daniel.
I don't think it was a lease purchase. We were just going to finance the outright purchase.
Okay,
That's how we purchased everything else.
okay, well, good.
Yeah. Okay, that passed, bro. Okay. All right, the next thing is the sewer project paperwork, which has been a long time coming on this grant. But this is a request for cash, this CDB grant on the sewer system. And this is a request for the application preparation and the general administration that goes to North Central, an amount of $8,000. And I would need board's approval for me to sign this paperwork to get back to North Central so this sewer grant can finally get going.
So this is I'm sorry, Herbie, this is a new, or this is finishing out the last one?
Finishing out, well, it's not finished, it's the start of a grant that was awarded. Gosh, we applied for it last year. I would have to go back in minutes to see when it was approved for us to apply for this.
Okay, so this is the next leg of the trunk line going
This
north?
is the third leg of the trunk line, yes. It will start at the northeast side of the Baptist church. It will go behind the Baptist church, turn up Main, and what is left over goes up Central. And then there's one repair on a creek crossing that we have to do. But it's all in the grant, in the bidding and all that. But
After this past 6 months, $8,000 seems like a bargain for them to make.
yeah, this is a little over $400,000 grant. So it's.
I'll move to approve the mayor's signing of that.
Okay, we have a motion. Kagan, we have a second.
Second.
Herbie or Cinnamon seconds.
I cut you off.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
While we're talking about that little area, when will the area on Central Street be safe again? I get a lot of calls about that. Just
Soon
north
as
of the
this,
building.
yeah. As soon as this sewer work is done, then that will be finished. Because we didn't want to fix something that got tore up in the process. And,
Okay.
But it just as soon as this can be bid out and get this done, we're going to fix that for sure. Because that's been a pet peeve of mine also.
They're going to rip. That's where the new one starts, isn't it? That's where the next
Yes.
one starts.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
And that is a sandy area, so that's why you always kind of hold your breath when they start construction in a sandy area, because you never know what else will give away.
Right.
Because part of the old one kind of was part of that problem there.
Well, we learned something about which contractor not to choose.
Yeah.
for the next level.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next item is to move the board meeting officially back to City Hall from City Auditorium. And that does not mean that we all have to be present. If this virus continues, of course, we can continue Zoom meetings, but this will allow Daniel to get back to the board room, and he doesn't have to sit at City Auditorium by himself. And any people that appear for hearings would come here to the board room. We have room to space everyone out. So I would entertain a motion that we move the board meetings back to City Hall. Again, that doesn't mean that everyone has to be in the building.
I make that motion.
All right, Nicole makes that motion. Do I have a second? Herbie seconds. And all in favor?
What's ironic is that all those notices that I've been mailing out say to come to the city auditorium, yet no one does.
Now we'll keep them coming here anyway. Okay, so
Yeah.
that passed unanimous. Okay.
Can I make a motion that we renew the employment agreements with both Daniel Martin and Shannon Crowe?
Yeah, I was just fixing to get to that. So it's made that we renew the employment of Shannon as the prosecuting attorney, and I believe it's officially Criminal P LLC to represent the board. So Kagan makes that motion. We have a second to that.
Second.
Herbie seconds. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay, and that is unanimous. So Daniel, y'all are rehired.
If it, just to kind of prime the pump, next year, what I was thinking I would politely ask for is that y'all could hire me individually, and we could, Miss Vivian and I can sit down and run the numbers as to how that would change, because y'all would have to match certain things as an employee of the state. So, and but we'll examine that further. But you know,
We might not be in office next July, Daniel.
Well, I have a strong feeling that the majority of you will be, if not all of you. If you're not here, it's because y'all choose that it's less stressful watching the nightly news than being the nightly news. Anyway.
Well put. Okay, yeah, that would be fine, and that way you could, I know would be some benefits to you down the road, especially
Yes,
if you're a young person.
I had one thing that Chase Dudley had contacted me and asked. He was a little late. Hey, Chase, getting on the agenda, but it's something I certainly think deserves a conversation, and that was about what the Magnolia Youth League can and should do down at the sports complex. Right now, they have, they took in registrations from a lot of folks, and now we've all just kind of been sitting on our hands. So I wanted to put that out for conversation. After yesterday's numbers, my feelings, Chase, are pretty still where they were. 957 new cases in this state yesterday. 7 new ones in Yalobusha County yesterday. But I'd like everybody to be able to talk about it and then leave it up to the board what they'd like to do.
Yeah, basically, can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can.
We start our flag football mid-August. We start our signups in July. So it's a tight fit to get 2 sports in. And I don't know if we're going to do flag football or maybe do baseball. We're going to meet after this meeting and just make a decision, because if you say no, we'll probably end up reimbursing everybody for baseball. If we're going to try to get 2 sports in, we've got to start now. That's it. I feel like people know the risks and can make the decision for themselves, but it's a virus. It's out there. And there's not much you can do, social distancing and wearing masks when you're playing sports, but I feel like it's healthy for the kids to get out. And, if they're going to, our big thing is if they're going to have the choice to go to school and they're going to see each other at school all day, they might as well, those same kids are probably going to be the parents that say, hey, we want them playing sports. And so, they're going to be together at school already most of the day. They could play sports in the evenings, and we're talking twice a week. We can spread things out. We can put things together that say, hey, parents can wear masks in the stands, or, make them all sign waivers. It's really just giving them the opportunity. So anyway, I'll let y'all discuss it. So.
Anybody?
Tough.
Very
Tough
serious.
conversation.
Yeah, this is very serious due to the numbers that we're having each day. They're not declining, And I feel it's kind of up to the board here to do everything that they can to keep our community as safe as possible. And that's even if we say no to the sports.
I agree.
I agree as well.
I agree.
What did y'all agree to? I'm sorry.
That
out.
Herbie, do you want to say it again?
You know, the numbers are not declining, and it's kind of our responsibility as the board to try to keep our community as safe as possible. You know, we've talked about the mask and all businesses and all that kind of stuff, but still, when we pull a large group together like we do at our ball fields, I feel like we're putting our city and all of our community at risk. So I'm saying no to sports this year.
Just all together, none at all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Both the lieutenant governor and the speaker of the house have both tested positive. I'm pretty sure that's going to change state policy.
8 more people in the state tested positive today.
Okay, so do we need a motion to that effect or just general consensus?
I think policy right now is that the athletic fields are not available for large.
Just continue the current policy then.
I appreciate it. I will relay it to the board and to the community on our Facebook page and let them know that we're not going to have any sports this fall. And thank you. All right.
Thanks, Chase. Okay, there's one other item that wasn't on the agenda, but this is the fire protection operation agreement. This is our agreement, of course, between the city and the county. There was some language that we, being the city, wanted corrected in this. There's been a problem with 911 when a fire was called in on a county road. They were toning our city fire department out first, and we should be back up on that. And so actually the agreement is has expired at this point in time, so we don't have agreement even though we're honoring one right now. So we do need to come up with this agreement and send it to the county for their approval also. But Daniel, got Frank as the county fire coordinator. He has retired, has he not?
Yes.
So that would be Dalton Coleman now.
Yeah, Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, just cross out Frank Hyde and put Dalton Coleman in there. Thank you for that. I wasn't invited to the retirement party. Playing there. I'm just teasing.
He had the corona. I don't think nobody was, but
is Mark still on with us? Is Mark McGavick still on with us?
Yeah, Mark's still here.
I'm here, Sim.
Hey, Mark. So I remember in the past that was just a $5,000 agreement, and I think that maybe that would be something that we would also discuss. Do you have, off the top of your head, some numbers on how many times we assist them and how many times they assist us?
That's a pass. Salmon, I think at $5,000 actually is a pass through from the state through the county.
Okay.
That is part of this agreement.
But to answer your question, if we have a fire in the city, 100% of the time, they will assist us with one of the closer bys, at least one will assist us. And then in the county, anytime they call, we go. So sometimes they'll call us and sometimes they won't. My biggest issue with this particular thing is like, and I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with where I live, but on Airways, anywhere out there in the county, but on that west side and would be north of 32, we're the only fire department that's going. We have to ask for assistance to go out when we go out there. And I don't have any jurisdiction in the county as far as in the future, if there was a problem, somebody would say, hey, well, this belongs to the city of Water Valley. Well, we have rental, y'all have rental property rules that you have where the code enforcer goes. And I just didn't want to get us in a trick bag of being their primary sole firefighter. And we don't have any say-so of how their property is. I don't know if that makes any sense to y'all, but it was just simply a wording of, I wanted us to be make sure that we are automatic mutual aid and not the only aid.
That makes perfect sense. I also have, I realize everybody is hurting for funding, but every time anybody in the city pays their property taxes to the county, you run through your head, what do we get? Because our city taxes, which are half of what are paid to the county, pay for our fire protection, our police protection, our roads and streets and everything else. And the county collects twice that amount, and it's hard to draw a straight line to what a person living in the city receives in terms of services from the county. And so if the county is receiving a better fire rating because of what the city invests in our fire department, and we provide that service to them now for no cost because we're receiving that pass through.
Absolutely.
That is a topic I would like to spend some time on.
I brought
would
that
as
up
well.
forward. That would be something great.
Right,
So-
was there was a fire tax or something, Mark, that you had proposed to us before? Can you go into that? Are you prepared to speak to
I
us
mean,
tonight?
I can go with, I know that pretty much, and I don't have the exact numbers of the people that do receive our class rating, but there are a lot of residents around the city of Water Valley that receive our class 6. And hopefully by this time next year, it'll be a class 5, but they pay absolutely zero for it. And I'm one of those people. My house insurance, when the city dropped to a class 6, my insurance rate lowered probably, I don't know, 10 to 15%. I don't know those exact numbers of how much it drops. And I think that if we could ever find that, it doesn't have to be an exorbitant amount of money that they pay, but even if you said 1,000 residents or 1,000 structures received our class 6 rating and didn't pay anything for it, $100 tax or fire tax is what it's called, that brings in $100,000 into our fire department, into our city. But right now, I don't pay anything for it, and I should.
So-
I mean, I guess y'all take donations, but that's all, you know.
So I would like to pursue something like that, or right now, this wouldn't be a conversation. There is no fire department necessarily in the county, but with the county board of supervisors,
Absolutely.
we are today sending a county department $5,000 a month for their help with our dispatching. If we are prepared to do that, possibly that shouldn't be happening because we're already providing valuable service through our fire. So how would we initiate, honestly, negotiations like that with the county?
Daniel, that would be a tax. So how the county board of supervisors would have to approve that tax, would they not?
Say it again.
That we were discussing a fire department
Fire tax.
on people within this 5-mile radius of the city. But that would be something that the county board of supervisors would have to approve, would they
Oh,
not?
definitely. And I don't, you're basically charging them for a service, so it's not necessarily I mean, you might as well just incorporate them in the municipality if you're trying to do that. I mean, I don't know. That's a deep question, but it would definitely involve the county.
So could we ask the county to make a proposal to us? They would have more ideas of how they could go about assisting us in funding our fire department, which serves.
I think that's what the 5,000 is for, right?
Well, it's about 5,800 a month, actually. Isn't it?
No, what they give us.
No, I'm talking
annually.
about, no, well,
Just $5,000.
that they give us 5,000, yeah, pass through. But we pay them $5,800 a month on one services, being the only municipality in the county that's paying for that service. And that kind of,
Correct.
yeah.
Now, my understanding on that,
They're having the same service without having to pay for it. They get the same service for free.
And I definitely think we need to look towards renegotiating that.
my understanding on that money that they pay us annually is for the area outside of that 5 miles where they request mutual aid. And they pay that to say, and Herbie probably knows better than me, but outside of that 5 miles, they say, hey, Water Valley, can you come help him? We send one fire engine and one firefighter to go assist them in what. But I mean, I've got the map at the station. I'd be glad to share with all of y'all. There's an area that's not covered by any volunteered fire department, and it's strictly for the city of Water Valley. And in the past, there's been issues with the other chiefs or chief. I don't know exactly, where there were some hard feelings, and he made known that he would call for backup if he needed it. But there's an area that's in the county, and again, I have it on the map, that is only Water Valley gets paid to go to these fires, and it's in the county. And like I said, it's a scary situation for me to be in and to put the city in. So that's why I wrote that wording the way it is. It's all mutual aid. That means we're going to go assist somebody else, and it's not going to be our fire.
Well, too, there's some advantages there too. You know, if you're towing to a fire 5 miles or more out in the county, and you are the primary, usually those trucks can't leave. Whereas as to the contract that you're trying to sign now, is that your mutual aid, and so therefore once the primary station gets there and they take over, that can relieve our trucks most of the time to come back to the city, because we're leaving our city vulnerable when we go outside our 5 mile radius. Absolutely.
And I have other stuff that it would have to be done in the executive session as far as talking about what was done, but I'm willing and ready right now, or any time that you say that any of y'all want to get together and we can look at this. But it would definitely be something that I think we should look at as far as a fire tax outside the city. And it's not hard to get, because the alternative is huge for the consumer. Because if we don't go outside the city limits, then they take the insurance rating of their volunteer fire department around them, which turns into be a class 8 or a 9, more 9 or a 10. And their insurance rates are going to at least double. So the consumer themselves will be very, I think, would want to do this also.
So I don't know that we would start negotiating with the county by trying to tell them how they need to raise funds.
I agree.
But I do think we need to be very clear that the city has a small tax base, much smaller than the counties. The county collects more money from the city citizens than the city does. And right now they are not sharing the burden of the cost of fire protection.
And that's it, 100%.
So how do we just ask the mayor to take those
I can have that conversation with the board president.
I think that instead of a tax, I think the easier route would be to use this discussion to negotiate that $5,000, because then you're just approving an interlocal agreement between two agencies to help provide services to an area, as opposed to the infamous word tax. So.
And we would have no ability to tell the county to initiate a tax. That's entirely their decision making. So I rather just say, we can no longer afford to provide these services without you assisting and supporting the cost. How are you going to?
Well, that might open the door for them to not want to have the agreement at all.
Is there
And
any?
we do need that, don't we, Mark?
I'm sorry,
We
Sam.
need the backup from the county. Would that open the
It goes
door?
both ways.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Them to not
they,
want to be in the agreement at all?
Yeah. We need the agreement because it is a mutual aid agreement. We go there, they come in. And,
Right, and we wouldn't want to lose that.
Right,
Well,
we need the
who is
agreement.
who is they? I guess we should ask too. Is
The
because-
volunteer fire departments in the county.
right, and those are necessarily. I don't know whether I'm thinking those may be separate entities as opposed to the county. I think we're providing the county a service for the sum of $5,000, and that we kind of overlap with those volunteer fire departments, and that's a service that the county wants us to perform, and that's why they're paying us the $5,000. So I don't think necessarily us. So I'll use Velma Fire Department for example. If we necessarily butt heads with the county, I don't think that would necessarily prevent us from having an agreement with Velma. Mark, what do you
Have an
think?
agreement?
The agreement has always been with the county. I mean, it's
Right.
It's signed by the board president and the clerk of the board and by the mayor and by our city clerk.
Daniel, it was kind of like what you were talking about before with the different styles of leadership for the mayor. Our county actually has a fire coordinator or the overall fire chief. Even though those individual fire departments have their own chief, the decisions are made by the county fire coordinator. So he could tell them, do not respond or do respond.
I see.
Okay.
But like in Panola County, they actually have their own individual chiefs and they make their own mind up what they're going to do. It's just a different style of.
So I think that the question is, do we go ahead and sign this agreement and then try to negotiate some other things with the county?
I think that would be a good decision, Mayor, to have something in place now, and then we could negotiate on any other thing thereafter. But this kind of puts a little, by signing this or approving this tonight, kind of puts a little, the word I'm trying to say is protection for the city.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion then that we go ahead and sign this and then we look into these other things that have been discussed.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Nicole, Herbie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. That's unanimous. I think I need to sign one. Must be corrected though.
Mayor, I had one more. If we can just talk about when we will talk about the budget.
Right.
We're pulling numbers together. Hopefully, maybe within a couple of weeks, if we can get something out to everyone. And if we have to call a special meeting to have a quote budget workshop night or whatever, we can do that. And
We have to turn it into the state in September, is that right?
September,
September.
15th of September.
That's when the millage rate has to be in.
Yeah, and that's when we'll have to determine our millage rates and everything by then. But let us pull these numbers together to see exactly where we are. Get those out to you, and then y'all can, like I said, if we need to call a special meeting to look at all the numbers, see exactly what we might need to do or where we are at that time.
Okay. And I think folks know, last year I thought we were in a position where we needed to increase the millage rate, but we were too close to the deadline to feel comfortable doing it. So I'd like to leave time for us to have real conversations about doing that.
Okay. But we can definitely do that. Okay, there's one other thing. I think Daniel has sent out the ordinance amending the water rates and tap fees, sewage and sewage and water tap fees. We discussed those a little bit last month. And if everyone has the ones from Oxford, Batesville, and then the proposals.
I thought where we left the conversation was the Batesville numbers were kind of a middle ground between Oxford and Grenada. And we were going to benchmark against their numbers, and we had all of them except for their price for the 1.5 inch and the positive freshwater delivery. Is that how?
Then we didn't have the 2-inch line. We had the, from Batesville Water, we have the 3/4 and the 1 inch, but nothing for a 2-inch.
Okay, I didn't know if we offered 1.5 inch.
We offer a 1.5 inch. We do. He's got it on his proposal.
So the proposal numbers that we had were significantly higher.
Higher than. What we need to determine tonight is what we want those numbers set at. And with just quickly, I'll run Batesville Water tap fee for a 3/4 inch, $750, 1 inch, $850. Oxford was at $300 for 3/4, $550 for 1 inch, and $850 for a 2 inch. And that's on the water side. On the proposal that David had put forth, of course, was 3 inch was $1113. And 1 inch was $1418, 1.5, $1818, and 2 inch, $1586. That's on the water side. So
I think we had discussed that moving to the numbers was still almost doubling the numbers that we're charging today.
Yeah,
actually a little more. So right now, our charge for a 3/4 inch line, how much is that?
Burnt. $428 for the water, 3/4 inch, $513 for 1 inch, $642 for 1.5 inches, and $856 for 2 inch. And all sewers $250. Right now, the sewer's $250 on everything. Whether it be a 4 inch or a 6 inch, which that side is especially low.
Yeah. So if we treated them separately, I know that 600 and 750 for 4 inch and 6 inch isn't what I would like, but it's significantly more than Oxford, and it's matching what Batesville charges. still okay with that, I would be happy to make a motion just about the sewer rates.
Okay, so your motion for the sewer rate is for a 4-inch line,
Nope.
or do you want to make it the same for both?
No, I would say 600 for the 4-inch line and 750 for the 6-inch line.
Okay. All right, we have a motion for the sewer tap fees for a 4-inch line to go to 600 and a 6-inch line to go to 750.
Second.
Okay, that was Cinnamon second. Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Will that include the water and the sewer?
No, that's just the sewer.
Just sewer?
We'll address the part. Yes.
Okay. I was just making notes. Thank you.
So that motion passed. Okay, now the water fees, water tap.
The only thing that, because with Batesville, we didn't get the 1.5 and the 2-inch. I'm comfortable with the 750 and the 850 for the 3/4 inch and the 1-inch. I would have just kept going and said 950 and 1,050, but it looks like the 1.5 inch stuff is more expensive from David's quotes. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, so the
1.5 inch pipe more expensive. It's $400 jump from the 1 inch to 1.5.
Yes, it's more expensive.
He says
the
it-
meter, the meter is extremely more expensive.
He says the meter's the big part of that. It's a lot more expensive to go from 1 inch to 1.5.
So what if we had 3/4 inch for 750, 1 inch for 850, 2 inch for 950, and 1.5 inch for 1,050? Just stepping it up $100, but making the 2 inch less expensive to avoid those expensive meters.
Okay, so the 3/4 was, give me those again, Kay. What?
Just 750, 850 for 1 inch, 950 for 2 inch, and 1,050 for the 1.5 inch.
Okay. Okay.
That would make us, it's competitive with Batesville. I think it's less than Grenada and it's significantly more than Oxford.
Yeah. Oxford depends on volume so much that,
Yep.
you know, they,
And property taxes. If someone builds something, they're gonna
yes.
look at that.
Yes. Okay, you want to put that in form of a motion?
I move that we increase the water tap fees to those numbers just outlined.
Okay. We have a second.
Second.
There's Nicole second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That is unanimous on that. Okay, also along those lines, the tampering fees. Are there any right now?
Ours is $10
Oh, wow.
if they tamper with the water.
Okay. If
I'd like to move that to 100 and make the rest of it the same as.
okay, I don't know if y'all can hear David. He's here. The tampering fees right now, tampering fees. If somebody tries to steal water, let's just say, okay. Right now, we only charge $10 for that. Dave is proposing that we go that to $100 on that.
I'm the wrong person to ask. I really don't care for theft.
Okay. Any other?
Any number would be fine. The 100.
Any other?
That's quite a bit of jump. I would consider 50.
Tampering?
Tampering, yes. If they mess with it, try to circumvent a meter or.
Well, I'm with you on what it is. I was just making sure that $100 is cheap.
If they,
I agree.
if they tear the meter up or something like that, you know.
They're willfully breaking something that belongs to the community.
Yeah.
And stealing, there's no way if they do that to figure out how much water they took.
Right. Plus cost of a meter and all,
Yep.
you know, $300 and something. So,
Can we also, is that a flat rate or do they also get billed for the damage that they caused?
They're starting to get billed.
well, they would get billed if we have to replace a new meter. We would bill them for that. It's kind of like somebody running over a fire hydrant. We try to bill people for those now. And light utility poles. We try to go back against every who.
I'm fine with at least $100. Somebody else can.
I'd entertain a motion to raise that from 10 to 100. I mean, I know it is going up quite a bit, but again, it's a cost to us and to the citizens of the town when we have to go out and do something because of somebody else.
Exactly.
Does it need to be higher than 100?
I think right now, because we will also try to assess damages also on top of that.
Okay. So damages would be a separate charge.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'll make a motion for the 100.
Okay. Senator makes a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Nicole seconds. All in favor.
Aye.
All right. That is unanimous. Okay. Daniel, if
Yes,
you'll
sir.
plug those in and we can get you those figures and stuff, and then we will have to run this ordinance in the paper, right?
Oh, yeah. But what we've got so far, where did I do with it? Here we go. Is the water tap fees are $600. Excuse me, sewer tap fees are $600 for a 4-inch line, $750 for a 6-inch line, and then the water tap fees are $750 for a 3/4 inch, $850 for a 1 inch, $950 for a 2 inch, and $1,050 for 1.5 inch. There's going to be a $100 tampering fee, and let's see. Now, are we increasing the water rate at all?
We're still on a 3-year plan, aren't we?
A year, yeah.
When does that come up again, Daniel?
Now,
Okay. So it should be in our last updated ordinance, what we're going to go up to this time.
so I'm saying we didn't do that. So
Oh, we
we
didn't.
need to know the last ordinance I have was just changing it to a flat fee, and it didn't provide a step up.
So the minutes, if we go back to,
Yeah.
it was,
The
I believe,
minutes from 18.
yes, it was a 15% increase each year for 3 years. And that was going to get that department for the first time in many years into a positive income position.
I've got that we would, in that draft that I sent out, that we would move it up to $10.40 a month, and that for each additional 1,000 gallons, it'll be $2.25.
I don't remember what it's moving from. Is that a 15% increase from what it was?
That is the same rate it was this past year.
Okay, it should be a 15% increase this year. That was the plan that we approved 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think we need to put in that, this, while we're amending the ordinance, to make sure we get the 15% increase.
So we need to go up from 1040 and do 15% on top of that, and 15% on top of the 210.
Correct.
And the
Yes.
same thing with the sewer rate.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I'm making those notes.
Just not to shift, did we move forward with purchasing garbage pails? Or the garbage ordinance? Have we published that?
The garbage cans.
Yes, it's public.
It's in the paper now.
Okay, it's published.
It's coming up next month.
Yep. Okay. Is that everything?
All right, thank you, guys.
I believe that's everything on the agenda, unless anybody else has something. Well, I think we have some matters that would be executive session.
Motion to consider
Does
executive.
have anything before that? Okay. Okay, makes a motion, to consider executive session. We have a second.
Second.
Herbie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes, so we'll see if we need to go into executive session.
David had something, and Michael wanted to hire, and David wanted to hire and fire.
All right, is that just,
Get something to eat. Get something ready. We'll come by and eat.
I live in town.
I just kicked David